the bare minimum things are needs. And you must be here recalling about the definition of sustainable development, which was given for the first time. What does it state? It started with the sentence saying that meeting the needs of the present. So I think need is the fulcrum around which the whole sustainability debates, whole sustainable development is revolving from the day one. So it says that meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. So I think need was given too much emphasis, it was highlighted too much, and it is the basic. So it is very prudent for us to understand the meaning of the needs and how it satisfies from different angles. Want is something which is ahead of the needs. When my needs are fulfilled, then I want something. When I want something better, which is at a higher level. So people who have access to food, they may be having or crave for certain specific food. They need veg food, organic food, non-veg food. So that is something which is at a higher level. Same is the case when we talk about the other need, that is of shelter. So if you have a shelter, then you may be wanting to have a what type of accommodation you want to dwell in. So that is a clear distinction between the needs and the wants. And demand comes into the picture when we have ample of the resources that we are able to provide all those wants by the communities. It more specifically talks in terms of the economy. So when the people have the paying capacity, when the purchasing power is more, then the demands are met. So demands are met. It depends upon the income group. It depends upon the different stratas which exist in the society. So demand has a more, you can say, monetary aspect, financial aspect, more economically well off. Those who are and those who are not are clearly demarcated by the term which is demand. So there is a gap between the supply and the demand, then the needs are met, the wants are not met. So all these types of distinctions are converted into the economic terms by the demands. Let us go more into the needs and the wants, because before I explain to you how social sustainability, let us be very clear about this thing. So needs and wants are related to each other, because exercising is a need for many. We need to exercise daily, we need to keep ourselves fit daily, but your want may be depending upon your choice. It may be depending upon your nature of work. It may be depending upon the space available, if we talk about the exercising in particular. Similarly, with changing times, the nature of the need changes. So if we talk today, whatever our needs, so our needs have changed. Here I would like to again explain to you in the coming slides. We'll be seeing that, however, this is not true. What I'm saying here is will not be true after I'll give you explanation sometime. So this time it says that with changing times, the nature of the need changes, and at this moment you will be agreeing to me that yes, with the changing times, the need changes, because now we need lot many things than the man needed some few years back. So we need internet today, we need smartphones today, we need better roads today, we need access to electricity today. These are all the needs which were not there at certain stage of time. And our wants are can be somebody else need. So the type of the luxury of food, the luxury of how you are commuting, the place you are living, the source of entertainment you have, that clearly is different for different people. So a need may be a want of somebody, a want may be a need of somebody, and that is always interchangeable. Now, whenever we discuss about needs, we cannot complete our discussion without talking about Maslow, the hierarchy of needs. So he was the first time, and this hierarchy of needs was given much before the Brundtland definition, which I was referring to before, the sustainable development definition. It was given much before. And those who don't know about these Maslow hierarchy, I would like, this was the 5 stages of hierarchy which was given by Maslow, and it was more based upon physiological needs, and it was more on the emotional state of the mind of the person. That was the basis of this Maslow hierarchy. So what do we need at most? They are the lower level are the physiological needs. We need food, water, air, all those things which will keep us alive. That is the physiological needs. When the physiological needs are met, then we want the safety needs, we want protection, we want to be safe. Then there are needs for belongingness, for love, for example, affection from our peers, affection from our kids and kin, relationships, friends, family. Then there is a need for esteem, where we want to prove ourselves, we want to do something for our betterment, when we want to be recognized by the society for all the efforts that we are making. And then comes the stage of self actualization. Now look carefully at this pyramid which is given over here. So when you yourself put into this hierarchy, you realize that yes, first of all we need food, then we want to be safe, then we want to be loved, we want some post, which will give us a status in the society, and then comes the stage of the self-actualization. When you look at it carefully, you may realize that people may have reached the self actualization stage, but they not be having the belongingness or love needs may not be met by certain people. So, what I want to convey here is that it is not like a ladder that you move from one need to another and you keep on satisfying your needs. However, this is also true that the basic is the lower level need, so that has to be met, that without that you cannot move to the upper level. That is also true. But these the levels keep on changing back and forth. It is not always like once you reach the esteem needs, then you are always safe or you are protected. That is not the case. So it moves interchangeably. Another thing, this is a five stage. After a few years, Maslow again came the eight stage hierarchy, where he also included the needs which were in the form of aesthetic needs of the person, the transcendent needs of the person, cognitive needs of the person. And he categorically said that first of all, a person needs to physiological needs to be met. Then, of course, the safety. Then it comes the stage of your love, belongingness, esteem needs. Then cognitive needs are also important for a person to be met. For example, we also want to learn, we also want to gather knowledge, we want to keep ourselves abreast of whatever is happening all around. That is the cognitive needs, we want to be updated. Then there is a stage of aesthetic needs, because we do not we look for beauty outside, we look for uh, you can say things in order, I should say. That is because chaos and this thing, this is not generally considered to be a good sign. So people always, a person always also looks for the aesthetic needs. That is also there, and that is met particularly if we talk about the nature. So it is fulfilled by the different kind of resources that you have outside. And then at the final stage after self actualization, Maslow said that people also have a need of transcendence. Transcendence means where you want to grow spiritually, where we want to look for, search for the soul, where we are looking for what ultimately we have achieved. So that was the eight stage hierarchy which was given by the Maslow. Now you must remember here that Maslow's hierarchy of needs was totally based on, although there was a lot of criticism, debates also of this hierarchy, because it also at certain stage it ignored many things that we require, and also it is not always in this order. Then came Max Neff. He was an ecological economist, and he worked at length on this needs concept, that what does we need. And he proposed entirely a different matrix of the human needs and how people meet them. So he came up with this human scale development theory concept, whatever you may call it, and it gave very interesting findings. Very interesting. So what does, he gave certain postulates. Look at the first sentence, what it is written. The development is about people and not about objects or not about the things. Very clearly. Now, what does it mean? Quantitatively, we have so many parameters to look at development. We calculate gross national product, gross domestic product, GDP. निकाल के we come to, we can easily, say whether we are developed or not. That was the simple criteria. But then it was also explained by him that along with the quantitative measures of development, we also need to know the qualitative indices of development. What is the quality of life of the people? You must have read it somewhere that we also today talk about the, and that is how the HDI and gross happiness index and all these were talked and they were given. So it said that development is also qualitative. It should also say that well-being of the people, or you can say the quality of life of the people. Then again the question came that how do we know the quality of the life of the people? How do we know that they are having a quality life? Then again came the answer that it will come by knowing that whether their needs are fulfilled or not. So that way he explained that when we say that development is about the people and not about the things, then we must also at the backdrop also notice that whether their needs are fulfilled or not. And he gave lot many existential needs, axiological needs, so many type of needs he explained. The second postulate of this human scale development, which was given by Max Neef, that human needs are finite, limited number, and classifiable. So basic human needs are the limited in number. They do not exceed a certain number. They will be mainly for protection, for having food, for esteem, and these type things. So they are not excess. They are not infinite. We can easily know the needs of the people. And another thing is human needs remain the same. Now this is contrary to the earlier belief which said that the needs keep on changing, because what Max Neff explained is that the needs do not change, but how do we satisfy those needs? They change. And he gave the concept of satisfiers. So our need to socialize has not changed. It is same. But the way we socialize today with the help of internet, through virtual media, that has changed. Maybe we are less talking to people, more chatting, but that does not diminish our need for social interaction. So it said that they remain the same in all the countries, in all historical periods, but how these needs are met will be changed. So look at these 9 categories of axiological needs. Now you must be thinking about what is this axiological. Axiological means the value which is perceived by the society. So instead of saying the physiological needs, which Maslow slide earlier, now he said that the need for subsistence. Subsistence means to survive. Protection. He gave these 9 categories. Now look at them one by one, and then you will able to relate, and you'll be able to see that what is this need. Subsistence, protection, affection, to love and to be loved, understanding, having knowledge, participation, having say in the decision making, able to raise voice, able to express ourselves, leisure, having some free time, idleness, to explore one's inner potentials, creation, to make something, to come out with something, identity, having some kind of a status, having a kind of an identity in the society, and freedom. Freedom to move, freedom to express beyond any cultural, political, any bias. There should be freedom. So he explained that these are the 9 categories of axiological needs which was proposed by Max Neef. Now let us see here more clearly that what does it means. So by subsistence, he needs, just for example, your food, water, but yes, of course, you need air also, you need shelter, clothes, etc. So, subsistence, then protection in the form of how your life is protected, having shelter, of course, it comes over here, and health insurance, just for giving an example. Participation, we need to participate through voting, involvement in the decision making. Leisure, like reflection, recreation, affection, understanding, creativity, identity, and freedom. So, this more clearly explains, and it is very true in the present context, that as compared to Maslow, the model which was given by Max Neef was, laid more emphasis on the creative aspect of an individual also, because apart from just having food and protection, uh, like a caged animal, we are creative human beings. We have brains. We want to express our feelings through maybe writing, maybe painting, or our contribution in the society. He also gave an idea, and these are the existential needs. Um, uh, they were as society perceived it, because I call them axiological needs. But there are four existential needs also, and they are classified as being, having, doing, and interacting. When you look at the matrix, it will be more clear to you. But here I'm just explaining you in this manner, that when I say being, means how, what I am, how do I feel about myself, that is what qualities I'm having. Having means what do I have, in terms of an individual, what possessions do I have. I have a home, I have this, and I have that. In terms of community, do we have hospitals, do we have hotels, do we have education institutions, do we have roads. Having, and then doing, what activities I am indulged in, what I am doing. And interacting means what kind of institutional setup we have, what kind of regulatory mechanisms we have. That explains the existential needs. Now look at this matrix here. With this matrix, things will be clear to you. Just look at the first block. In the topmost, we have categorized the existential needs, like being, having, doing, and interacting. And here on the left hand side, we have the axiological categories of which we have seen in our previous slides. That is subsistence, protection, affection, understanding, participation, idleness, creation, identity, and freedom. Now, when the subsistence need is met, then you have the physical health, then you have food, shelter, means then you are physically sound, I should say. Okay, physically you are fit. Then you have food, shelter, you have some work, that is also important. What you are doing, you are working, you must have work, that is also very essential. Then you are resting, that is also very essential. And then you are interacting. Then protection wise, you can say how you are, means you have autonomy, you are adaptable, you are cared for, and you are caring. Then you have savings. So when you just I'll be sharing this PPT, and you just look at it afterwards one by one, then you will see, that how relevant it is. When you see this matrix, then you see that yes, it covers almost all. As an individual, what do we need. Okay, so it explains that it holistically, it explains the whole makeup of an individual in terms of what he is, what he has, what he does, and how, what is the environment which supports all these activities which we are doing. For example, when you look at identity here, you can see that yes, what you feel, you have a sense of belongingness to a particular community, to a particular social group, to a particular work group. Then you have symbols, you have habits, that your language gives a indication about the identity. Then you grow, you confront, you discuss. And when you interact, that is everybody settings you are interacting. So this was the Max Neef matrix, which clearly explained that how the different needs are being categorized, and very elaborately explained all these things. Now I was talking about satisfiers. Very interesting that the needs have not changed when you look at the other needs which we were referring to. But satisfiers are how do we meet our needs. For example, food and shelter are the satisfiers of the need of subsistence. So, according to Maslow, we said yes, food is a need, shelter is a need, it's a physiological need. Okay, but Max Neef, he came up with the idea that they are the satisfiers. The need is to subsistence, need is protection. And now that protection is met by what satisfiers, they are different. Likewise, education. There is a need for understanding, so education will give you, it is the satisfier of that need. Now, there are different kinds of satisfiers here. Just look at it. There are, see, a need is fulfilled or not may be understood in context of oneself, on the society, or on the environment perspective. Okay, I give you an example. For example, you look at violators. They claim to satisfy certain need, but make it difficult to satisfy that need. Now it's very confusing. If you read it in this way, it is very confusing. How to explain this is that you're feeling thirsty. You have a cold drink. It feels that you have satisfied or you have quenched your thirst, but however it's not so, and it will dehydrate it more, means you will be having more quench. So this kind of satisfiers are known as violators. They appear to be satisfying your need, but in fact they make the satisfaction of their need difficult. Similarly, I talk about pseudo satisfiers. Pseudo satisfier means they claim to be satisfying a need, but in fact, they have no say, no role, I should say. Very interesting. For example, owning a big apartment, having a luxury car may be, you may be thinking in that manner that if I have these possessions, it may satisfy my esteem needs because I want social status. It may satisfy my need for identity, but however, it is not so. So those type of needs are pseudo satisfiers. They appear to be satisfying, but they are not. For us, we may feel that yes, we are able to, and there are n number of examples. If you look at pseudo satisfiers, there are so many examples where we think that we are eating healthy, but however, it is not so. Okay, so we may think that we are liked by the people when we do any social media activity or this thing, but maybe it is not so. So that is a pseudo satisfier. When we count our likes, that how many likes we have got, we may think that we are just liked by so many people, but however, it is not so. So it gives you a false sense of belief that your need is satisfied, but it is not so. Another type of satisfier is inhibiting satisfier. They over satisfy a need. So in that case, what happens is that certain needs in future may not be met because you have over satisfied a need. A very good example here I can say, when we have a overprotective family. Yes, they give protection, they satisfy their need, but they satisfy all the needs. They praise the child, they protect them, they give them food, they give them all that whatever is required by the child, but in the long term, if you see, they inhibit the growth of the child. They they take away the confidence, they take away the struggles which are required for a living in future. So that are the inhibiting satisfiers. They will satisfy for the time being, but in the long run they may not be so much satisfying. There are singular satisfier which satisfy only one aspect. For example, here I would like to quote the example of, for example, insurance. The insurance policies, so they will satisfy the need for protection. Or you have different types of campaigns which are led by the government for providing midday food to the children, or you are giving some special drives you are doing, so they will be satisfying only one need. So that is a singular satisfier. And synergistic satisfiers are those means, along with satisfying one need, they may also help you to satisfy the other needs. For example, if you go for walking outside, so walking will also satisfy your need for, of course, your physiology exercise, but it will also aesthetically, it will freshen up your mood. They will uplift your souls. They will be spending more time with nature. So along with satisfying one need, they also satisfy the other need. So this was just to explain you the different types of satisfiers, and they have a relationship with the needs, because our needs are met with the help of these satisfiers only. So what kind of satisfiers we are searching for to meet our needs, they will explain whether our needs are fulfilled or not. So I come back to the basic needs, our well-being, because we started our discussion with the needs and how, why do we need, and why it is said that for sustainability we need. So wellness and well-being are two concepts for which, because as the Brundtland definition also says, that future generations and getting the resources for the future also. So you must understand, learners, that wellness is a process. Eating right, exercising, staying away from all the caffeine products. It may be said that it is all a process which will take you to the state of well-being. So when well-being of a person is a combination of cognitive and emotional domains. So cognitive domain means in terms of our physical health we are fine, and also our emotional health we are fine. So the needs which we have discussed in our earlier slides, they explain that whether we are in a state of well-being or we are going through the wellness process. So what happens if the needs are not fulfilled? Because if that means wellness is not there, that means well-being is not there, and it is termed as human poverty. So according to the needs which we have studied, we have the poverty of subsistence. This, because when the needs are not fulfilled, we call it poverty in terms of human poverty. So it may be poverty of subsistence because of lack of food, insufficient income. It may be poverty of protection, violence, bad protection, poverty of affection, poverty of understanding, poverty of participation, poverty of identity. I hope it is clear, because it explains that what happens if we are not able to be understood. That means it signals that the educational facilities or educational initiatives are not in place. Similarly, if we have the poverty of participation, that means we are marginalized, we are disadvantaged, we face discrimination in the society. So, what is the purpose of explaining all this is that when you look around now, you will see that even the well-offs are suffering from poverty of various kinds. It is not just the poverty in the economic terms, but also we have a poverty of so many things outside. We can see that how people are poor in context of so many other needs which are essential. So maybe we are able to meet, or we are able to satisfy the poverty of subsistence, but then there may be a poverty of identity, and that is clearly evident by the behavior of the people in today's times. And it explains that how poor the people are mentally, spiritually, and what all they are lacking in their day-to-day life. So when we say concept of well-being, and when we believe that the needs of the people are met, and the people are not poor in terms of human poverty, then it is explained by positive psychology and sustainability. So positive psychology is the feeling that yes, we are every day we are improving, every day we are moving towards something better, we are competing with ourselves. That is the positive psychology. And at one hand, where one's own inner emotional and mental makeup is essential, but in the similar way the sustainability part also has a role, because when you see sustainability, when you talk about the resource conservation, extraction of the resources, and pollution of various kinds, and the people facing these environmental hazards in day to day times, we must also remember one thing, that all these needs cannot be met unless and until the sustainability is taken care of. So, what is sustainability? I just give you the definition, because you must be in all your lectures, in all your other study material, you must be knowing about sustainability. So, it is an environmental policy which is concerned not only with the economic development, social harmony, and environment protection, but also with the responsibility of future generations. So, it is well understood that the three P's, like people, planet, and the profits. Along with that, we are also looking for the balance between the domains under which our life revolves. No, so the environment is important, economy is important, equity is important. So three E's we call them; they are important, and also the responsibility for future generations, that is very very important. So when we uh, go for meeting our needs, We should not harm the future generations. So how does it differ? Just to explain you a little bit, that when we talk about sustainability and sustainable development, what is the difference? That sustainable development, more economics terms comes, and when sustainability is there, it is more about our actions, it is more about our environment. So that clearly distinguishes between these two terms. Now, in the context of human needs and satisfaction and social sustainability, we must keep in mind that we have to see that when we pave the path for sustainable development to the measures which have been taken, we must also see that the social sustainability also prevails. So that is possible only when we are able to look at it from the perspective of individuals and the way the individuals are developing, if it is if it is believed to be in that manner. So how their well-being, wellness, what process are they taking in order to fulfill their needs? What is the root cause of unsustainability? We must think about it little bit, because unless and until we know that why our actions are unsustainable, we won't be in a position to understand that what will take us to the path of sustainability, how we will pass on the lessons of sustainability and sustainable development. So there are certain why it has happened, because we have encroached the earth and we have taken up the resources from the earth's crust. So many types of materials are being accumulated, and here it clearly explains to you the need and the greed. Mahatma Gandhi clearly said that we have the enough to satisfy the need, but not the greed. So here again comes the picture that why need and greed distinguish between. And the present times where we have accumulated so much substances which have been created by the society, it explains the greed of the people. So physically we have inhibited the nature's capacity because of the disturbances, the anthropogenic factors, and barriers to people, because the needs, are not being met for millions of the people who live in still very tragic conditions. So that gap between the needs fulfillment of different sections of the society is one of the main cause of unsustainability. And therefore satisfying the basic needs is the core of the part of sustainable development, as I said earlier, because all our actions are made towards satisfaction of the needs. But one thing also we must remember, and that will explain that how social sustainability can play an important role towards satisfaction, because our needs have to be satisfied within three contexts. In what present times it is happening, we are seeing that needs are satisfied to oneself only. When I'm taking the resources, when I am exploiting the nature in relation to self, and here oneself will clearly explain the human species, the species which has the uh, brains, which has the technology, which has, you know which has tried to full control over the resources of the nature. So along with seeing that the needs are met with oneself, that is known as eigenwelt, the needs have also to be satisfied with respect to the society and the environment. So without that was all, this was also given by Max Neff only when he postulated this um, human skill development approach theory. He said that why unsustainability is prevailing, because today the needs are satisfied in relation to the self only, ignoring the satisfaction of the society as a whole or to the environment. Because you must have heard about this particular saying that unless and until everybody around is happy, we cannot be happy. That is Ubuntu. That was that is had a message of social sustainability in it. So it encompasses, how is it possible? We have to think about the long term ecological sustainability, preserving the nature, taking care of the rivers, taking care of the forest, preserving biodiversity, satisfaction of the basic needs, or how do we satisfy these needs, what all measures are we taking. And also it is very important to see that not only within generation, but the different generation wise the needs are satisfied, and that is known as intragenerational and intergenerational equity. When in our own generation we see that the needs are fulfilled, but also we also have to see that the coming generations who will be living on this planet, who will be using all these resources, will they be in a position to live healthily, will they be in a position to keep see the nature intact. So, as it is said that we have borrowed the nature from our forefathers, no, we have to pass it on. So, social sustainability is not possible unless and until we are able to also look at it from the angles that future generations also have to maintain the same kind of living. They must also be bestowed with the nature's beauty, with the other possessions of the nature, the important natural resources which are there. So, unless and until we do it, it is not possible. Now, another important and very interesting sustainability hierarchy, the different levels. When you will read this, you will recall the Maslow hierarchy, which we have studied. This is what this is the levels, and this level will explain that at what level the sustainability measures need to be taken, how stringent, I must say that, how stringent and how forceful the actions have to be taken. So at the level 1, these are the actions that if you continue, or they will endanger the survival of the humans. At the second level is they will reduce the life expectancy or will degrade the health. Third action, they may cause species extinction or will endanger the human rights. Or fourth action, they will interfere or they will disturb the beauty of the place, or they will values, beliefs, and aesthetic preference will be lost. Now, level 1 is at the lower level, then level 2, level 3, and level 4. What efforts do we make for what I should say, what efforts should we make for integrating sustainability or protecting the environment? What actions, what measures are we taking will depend upon the level. So, why I said why it is analogous to Maslow's hierarchy is that as in that case it happened that unless and until the food and water are there, we cannot talk about safety. Unless and until safety is not there, you cannot talk about love and belongingness. Similarly, here also, if the survival of the humans is at stake, which is at level 1, you cannot think about protecting the nature for your aesthetic pleasures. So, first of all, we have to check that the actions which are being done at present, we have to check that this is not the case. That the survival of the humans should not be at stake. Because if we are not there, then there is no point of all the development which we are doing. So, development is a very tricky term, because what is development, for whom to develop, for what is to be developed. So what I would like to say here, that this hierarchy explains the how do we move towards sustainability actually. So first of all, if we are at stake, our survival is at stake, we cannot think about the health of ourselves, we cannot talk about our good quality lifestyle, we cannot talk about improving our life expectancy. If it is not there, then how will you talk about the species extension and aesthetic pleasure? So, first of all, you have to see that your survival is ensured. Then we talk about better health indicators, life expectancy. Then we see that human rights are met, and then aesthetic pleasure. So, this explains the hierarchy. I think there is otherwise somebody. Sustainability Society Index, and also likewise they include human, environment, and economic well-being, and this explains social, environmental, and this was the model again, which explained that how and what explains environmental well-being and what explains economic well-being and social well-being. This is just for your reference, because enough we have studied about these things. Now I just will take 2 or 3 slides to explain you about what has changed after the pandemic, what has how our basic needs have changed, or have they changed any, because we have read that the needs doesn't change, but the satisfier changes. So there is a change in the temporal change, because in the COVID times and the pandemic times, there was a rush for the, you know, hoarding of eatables and physiological needs. We were striving, need for self protection, need for affiliation, need for self esteem, and also there was elevated changes for cognitive and self actualization. I don't know how many of you will agree to this, that during those times, which were when we were under lockdown, there was a different kind of a scenario from the perspective of the needs. At that time, what we needed was very much different from the times when, which are to be considered as a normal times, so to protect ourselves from the virus, to see that we are working even when we are not moving out, to see that we are connected with everybody through all these virtual medium. So they extensively changed our needs. We were in a different mode. And here, and according to sustainability wise also, if we see that a lot of things have changed, social sustainability particularly, we discuss here that human health has been given due importance, because after that, nothing, whether all the needs which we have discussed, health comes at the supreme. And the changes which are adaptive management, citizen empowerment, global solidarity, and emphasis on a lot of crisis driven innovation. So what I'm trying to convey through these, that unprecedented times like the pandemics which have occurred in the last year, they have an impact on the needs, they have an impact altogether on the social sustainability. So again, our strong point here emerges in that sense, that although we agree that we all are human beings having same needs and the same motivation for moving ahead, but in terms of the environmental changes which may come with the climate change and with other phenomena which we are seeing today, there may be a possibility that in times to come we see a change, we see a entirely a different scenario, where our needs are redefined, where our satisfiers also may be redefined in the times to come. So I just conclude here, because we must have discussion on this, because everybody is aware and everybody has a different need, I must say, when we talk about the needs. So of course, I conclude by saying that basic needs are of course same, because without having food, water, and physiological needs met, we cannot think of satisfying other needs as well. So whether you call it physiological needs or you call it subsistence need, it means that we, first and foremost, it is important to survive. Of course, needs and wants are interrelated. Also, they vary from one region to another, one country to another, one community to another, and there is we can have lot of examples where we can see that different communities have different needs. Some lay emphasis on better housing, some lay emphasis on better education. So likewise, they are different. Sustainability issues, because we are the students, learners of sustainability science, and when you see sustainability science, it is the science of sustainability. Okay, so it has to see, and it has to dig into the social perspective, because as a human being, as a member of the social group, it is important to see that what defines our existence, what for. That answer is very much essential to learn. So they are very complex, and of course, the mode of meeting various needs, that defines our social sustainability in the long run. So what are we craving for? What do we look for? How do we satisfy our needs? What guides us? That is very important to know. And sustainable development has multiple interpretations, because as I said, what has to sustain, you know there can be no one answer. There are thousands of definitions and thousands of interpretations. Sustainable development means what has to be sustained. Does the development has to sustain like the way it is going on, or the human race has to sustain? or the environment has to sustain, and it has got unlimited expectations. Whatever the problems we are facing, we come to the term sustainable development and its theories for the possible answers. And post COVID, the concerns of basic human needs and sustainability are bound to change. So we just see that what changes uh, after Maslow, after Max Neef, are there more research? Are there more studies to explain that what all ultimately does an individual living on this planet needs and how it is important for social sustainability? So I just end my presentation here. Let us have discussion. Yes, no, I should hear from you.